Hi guys, welcome to the Parenting Show. My name is Chepchumba Cherus. Connect with us on our social media handles at KTN Home on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. And on my personal handles is at Chepchumba Cherus. And we are on My Story. I have an amazing woman. She's called Jane. Jane will be sharing her story on Definitely My Story. And yeah, she'll be telling us her motherhood journey, how her experience has been, and to place amefikia now with her kids. So without further ado, welcome Jane.
Thank you, Chip. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you for coming through.
You're
Can
welcome.
you introduce yourself?
All right. My name is Jane, or Mrs. Jane Oparo Kello, a mother of 4 and a wife. And I've been a banker for 26 years until recently when I took early retirement. And I've enjoyed the journey of motherhood. I have 4 children, ages 25, 24, 21, and 19. And my parenting journey has had its own challenges, roller coaster of all sorts, but I'm glad I'm here today. And when I look back, I'm just happy that I enjoyed the journey while I was at it.
Exactly what you told me before we started this
Yes,
interview.
yes.
So yeah, I think what's motherhood to you, or what's parenting to you?
Okay. To me, parenting is a responsibility, and parenting is birthing destinies, because we don't just give birth to children without a vision. Parenting is about birthing destinies that you are entrusted with and ensuring that your children live their full potential. And by the time they are living their own lives independently, there is something you have deposited in their lives. There is what you vested in them that they are able to draw out from in their adulthood. And that is why parenting must not be taken casually. And that's why every parent must be a responsible parent right before getting the children, while they are parenting, and even after the children have gone out of home. Parenting continues for life. Yes.
Did you plan on getting your kids, or they just came? First of all, before you tell, how was your first experience into motherhood?
Okay. My first experience into motherhood, I must say, was quite hectic and a roller coaster of emotions. I was quite young when I got my first son. We just got married, and within the first year, we had our firstborn. So here you are, trying to juggle marriage, trying to understand this new stranger who has now come into your life. You're also trying to find yourself in this new role of a wife. And here you are with a child dropped on your laps. It was not easy for me, because I also went through the postmortem depression. As at that time, I didn't even know what that was. I just thought that motherhood is so tough, you know, that it's draining me of everything that I have. But later on, I came to realize that what I was dealing with was postpartum depression, which is very normal in parenting when mothers give birth. And so my firstborn, I can't say during his first years, I can't say that it was a very good experience because of that, being a young mother, wife role, and also continuing with my career. So I had so much to juggle, and again, other challenges that come up, you know, like illnesses. The dad became very ill. But all in all, you know, it's something God gives you the grace to bear while you're at it. Yes.
And you've mentioned quite a very important fact that you became a mom when you first got into your first year of marriage.
Yes.
And we are in a generation where most of us hatutaki engagements or even commitments. And here you are, you're a successful lady, a successful mom, that you are able to manage between your motherhood and even your, career and marriage. How do you balance that? And by that, you can also just give us your advice on what worked for you.
Okay. I think the first and the most important thing is premarital counseling. When 2 adults decide to get married, the next thing that normally follows, which is automatic, especially in our African culture, is getting children or getting babies after marriage. And so I think it's important for people to be given the right information, for parents to be empowered with the information, so that by the time you're getting into this stage of responsibility, you already know what to expect, and you know how to unpack every challenge that you'll come across. So first of all, for me, premarital counseling helped because I knew what to expect, and as I got into it, most of the things were not surprising me. Yes, they could have been overwhelming, but somehow I knew how to unpack them. So premarital counseling helps. Number two, a social support system. You need a social support system. As a young mother, you may not even be able to balance childhood, marriage, career, and other things that wait for you, you know, to take hold of. And if you have a strong social support system, you'll be able to get assistance, delegate some of the roles. For example, if you have a strong support system, on one weekend, you can get a friend, you can get a relative to take over, you know, babysitting while you just go somewhere and refresh yourself. Yeah. So a strong support system definitely helps. And then I think thirdly, understanding yourself, self-awareness. As a mother, as a person, you need to know, you know, what kind of a person am I? What am I bringing into motherhood? What is my personality? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What am I good at? Once you understand yourself, then you know what you're bringing into the table. So you know how to handle your marriage, you know how to handle motherhood based on who you are as a person, based on your own strengths. And where you're weak, you also know how to complement for your weakness. So self-understanding, self-awareness becomes very important in parenting. And because if you're self-aware, you'll also be able to know how much can you take, even within your career boundaries, within the marriage boundaries, dealing with in-laws, dealing with finances. When you're self-aware, when you have self-understanding, the battle is half won just because you know who you are. And then finally, also being able to prioritize what is important in every phase of your life. When you are a single person, the things that were important to you shift. And when you become a mother, your priority changes. And so being able to realign your priorities according to your self-understanding and according to your vision. Where are you going? Where do you want to go? And according to your strengths, who am I? And where am I going? So having a vision while you're prioritizing is also important, because your vision determines what your priorities are. For example, a generation like yours, Chep, you know, you're all about your career, because career is very important in this millennial season. And as you enter motherhood, I'm sure one of the things you want to look at is how does your career come into your motherhood. So that also helps you to plan how many children you're going to have. How are you going to parent your children? Are they going to be raised by nannies? Are you going to be taking breaks? Are you going to hire house helps? You know, that should inform what kind of a mother you're going to be, or what kind of parenting style you're going to adopt.
And even before we started this interview, we were having a conversation, and you told me one of your kids is adopted.
Yes.
How was the adoption process for you, and how was he able to mingle with the rest of the siblings?
Yes, our second born is adopted, and we adopted him by virtue of family heritage, because his parents passed on, and his parents were my husband's brother. And so when he got orphaned, we automatically adopted him into the family. So it was not such a rigorous process, because it was quite automatic, and following the paperwork was also not a hard thing for us. Yeah, so it was not, you know, like the normal adoption where you have to go to a children's home or a hospital, identify a child and go through, you know, the normal process of adoption. This is adoption by family heritage.
And how are you able to make him, not feel less loved than your other siblings? Because of course, kuna hiyo.
Yes.
And even siblings, do they get jealous of him at times?
It depends on how you. Let me start with your first question. How did we, you know, incorporate him into the family? Beauty of it is that we got him at a very early age. He was around 9 years, 8 years. And so at that point, there were no complications. He knew that he had parents who had passed on. And so he was coming into this loving family that was going to take care of him as their own. And so that made the conversation easier. And throughout his stay with us, we have never treated him differently. In fact, unless we tell people who visit us or who live around us that he is adopted, there is no difference. Yeah, he dresses the way our kids dress, he eats the way our kids eat, he goes to the same schools. I mean, he's been treated exactly the same way that the other kids have been treated. And the other kids also accepted him as part of the family. And we've never had a conversation, or we've never had a time where we have to, you know, remind anybody that, you know, this person needs to be treated this manner, because kids are amazing. They also just adapt into each other's lives, unless they are actually told. But kids naturally adopt and accept other people very easily. So that was our journey with him.
Are there any challenges that you face during wakikuwa wakubwa?
Wakikuwa, yes. The challenges that I have faced, and I have seen many other adopted children facing, is identity crisis when they get into adolescent stage. And this happens to even kids that are biologically conceived and raised. What happens is at adolescence, especially boys, begin a journey of self-identity, self-awareness. They want to know, who am I? Why am I here? You know, and so that becomes a challenge in the life of the adopted person. And I also saw it as a challenge, you know, with our adopted son when he got into teenagehood and adolescent. But we were able to hold conversations with him. Where we needed to be tough, we became tough. Where we needed to show him nothing but love, we did that. And with the understanding that this was a normal process of growing. And if our own children also grapple with identity crisis at that age, how much more this one, who knows that he's adopted into this family. So yes, we had those challenges, but challenges are always there. But the good thing, or the way to manage challenges, is to have straight conversations. And deal with what exactly are you processing? What emotions are you processing? And then putting those emotions on the table, unpacking them and addressing them. And that's what we did with him.
Okay, considering whatever the ages you've mentioned of your kids, okay, in a layman's, wamefuatana.
Tuseme ukweli. Yes.
So, hivyo venye wamefuatana, how are you able to raise them, like even financially, to you and your husband? How are you able to manage your finances and of course make sure they've gone to good schools and they don't lack anything? Just squeeze finance
imekuwa noma.
Shida.
So first of all, let me say, if I had the ability to get more kids, I would have got more kids. I actually wanted more than that, but somehow I couldn't. And when we got married, we agreed with my husband how many kids we wanted to have. And we understood as parents that having children is a responsibility. Children don't take care of themselves. They must be taken care of. So early enough, we started putting aside money for school. Early enough, we started rallying our finances and our budget around school fees. And we've always availed school fees before they get into campus, for example, or before they get into secondary school. The savings is already there waiting for them. And right now, you know, we have even insurance, you know, that purely takes care of education. So starting early and also planning. Financial planning is the key. Because, Chep, let me tell you, we've never had to take a loan to educate any of our children. We've taken them to good schools, the best we could provide us at that time, and best universities with the savings that were planned ahead. So we plan ahead, save, and we send them off to good schools. And so that is how we managed. Wakifuatana tu hivyo. By the grace of God. So and planning is key. Planning is key. And if you're taking a loan to send your children to school, you've missed something. A good financial planner, a good budgeter will tell you that for you to live within your means,
Yeah.
you must never take a loan to send your children to school.
school.
Yeah. It must be within your means, budget, plan, save, take them where you can afford.
Fantastic. Thank you for that.
Don't be under pressure.
And of course, Jane, in any journey, there are challenges. I'm sure there are challenges you faced as a mom. So probably you can share with us some of the challenges you faced as a mom.
Yeah, the challenges I've faced as a mom, you know, when children are young, Chef, you know, you told me you have a 2-year-old. When they're 2 years old, they are adorable. You tell them, do this, they gladly do it. You tell them, come, we do this, they gladly join you and do whatever you want. So basically, you're just controlling them, and it's so easy to control them when they're young.
Yeah.
But when they become teenagers, when they get into adolescent, then you understand why somebody sat somewhere and said, they now understand why some animals eat their children. Teenagehood and adolescence makes you want to become a monster and just eat them and forget, you know, that you ever had children. Because it comes with so many challenges. They are growing. They want to explore.
Yeah.
And they are doing all this in your house, you know, under your watch. They want to take their own path. They want to follow their own direction. And here you are as their mother. There is what you want them to do. There is the direction you want them to follow. But now they are adults. They have their own mind. They want to do their own stuff. And they are no longer the 2-year-old that you could buju and they're just happy and they follow what you want, you know. They now push back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, that was the hardest bit in parenting, because I always believed, as your mother, when I tell you to do this, you follow without asking why.
Why, yeah.
But again, these are why generation. They keep asking you, why must I do this? Why must I do this? So if you're not careful, you get into hostility, you get into conflicts with them all the time. And the more conflicted you are with them, the more distant you become with them. And the minute your children distance themselves from you, you know, you kind of lose an important part of them, which means somebody else will be directing them and somebody else will be giving them advice in life. So that was a hard one for me. For all of them in their adolescence, except the last one, the girl. I don't know whether it's because she's a girl. The first 3 are just boys. And you know, boys are boys. Like someone also said that we have one God, but boys have 2 gods. I don't know how true that is because of their lifestyle. Yeah, but having said that, when I look back, we were able to surmount the challenges because my husband didn't leave it to me alone. I've had households where when the children become hostile, the fathers back out and they tell the mothers, take care of your children. So when a child is good, they belong to their father. When they are bad, they belong to the mother. Yeah. But as for me, when I look back, we were able to do it together. We would discuss with my husband, with their father, and then we would call in the child and have the conversation very candidly. We would unpack whatever emotions were going through them. We would unpack whatever issues they had, you know, and try and address them. And the ones we could address, we could address. The ones we could not address, you know, we send them to our social support system. Like their uncle, you know, they have an uncle who has been very supportive and who has been very instrumental in just being there for them. There are things that your kids may take from you, but there are others that they will easily take from a mentor, someone else who sees the picture from a different angle than you. So their uncle has always come in as that sober voice that sees things differently from how they perceive us to see things, and so they would easily listen to him. So that has also helped in navigating. Yeah.
And even before we started this interview, we were having this small talk, and you're telling me the way your boys ni maboys wako, like ni mabeshte wako.
Ni mabeshte, yeah.
Really, of course, niko sure, okay, I'm almost the age of your firstborn, almost hapo hivyo. But you see, kuna vitu more some of us hide from our parents.
Yes.
We don't have that bond. Some of us, personally I do, but kuna wenye wako na hiyo struggle. How do you ensure your bond between you and your kids so that even as they grow up, kitu kiwafanyikia, ama when they they need that person to talk to, it can
Yeah.
always be you.
Yeah, great. Now, you as a parent, Chep, and this is what I told you from the beginning, parenting is an intentional journey.
Yeah.
That's why it's not fair to just have children without planning, because you're taking away something from them.
Yeah.
It's always good to plan, see ahead, and even be able to know their needs ahead of time. So bonding with your children is not something that happens overnight.
Yeah.
You don't wake up when they're 16 years old and decide, today we are creating a bond. Kujeni, come here, we create a bond. It doesn't work that way. You start creating a bond from childhood,
Yeah.
when they're 2 years old, right now. You begin to create systems and structures of trust that your children can actually trust you. You begin to walk a journey of being vulnerable to them, so that they look at you and they know, I can always tell mom, I can always tell dad what I'm going through, and dad will not judge me, dad will not be harsh with me, dad will listen first, and then dad will give me counsel, will advise me. So it's a journey that begins from their infancy into childhood, into adolescent, and into early adulthood. And as you take that journey with them, as they keep realizing that they can trust you even more, the older they grow, the stronger the bond becomes, because they know you are not judgmental over them.
True.
You are not just harsh over them. You know, I come from a generation where we could not bond with our parents because it was, you were there to be seen, not to be heard. Unaambiwa ufanye, and you do without questioning. And how would you bond with your parents in that environment?
True.
So our generation, your generation, we must be better at it, because we are able to develop those healthy bonds. We are able to create that environment, that atmosphere of trust with them. So they come running to you when they have issues. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And as we wind up this conversation, what inspires you to be like a good mom to your kids, a good wife to your husband? What inspires you?
Okay. What inspires me is, first of all, knowing God, my spirituality. I took a journey of self-identity, self-awareness, to also know who am I, what am I about in this earth, you know, and getting in touch with my spirituality helped me to realize that I'm more than just what you see physically, but there is something in me, a well of resources, a well of capacity, a well of goodness, a well of light, you know. There is within me goodness that I can distribute. And that inspires me to be a good person, a good wife, a good mother. Because when I look at how I've been loved by God and the blessings that God has also given me in my life, some I deserved, some I did not deserve. And so my outlook of life is always, how much does it cost me to add value to someone else's life? And I don't look at my children as just a mere responsibility, but I look at them in terms of, what do I want for them? What are the resources that I want to deposit in them that they will keep drawing from even when I'm long gone? If I'm able to put that deposit in them, then I've done a good job. Even my husband, how I relate to him is just based on that self-awareness. You know, what do I have that I can give? Because, Chep, you can only give what you have. What you don't have, you can't give. If you don't have love, you can't give. If you don't have light, you can't give. If you don't have grace, you can't give. So it is out of the abundance of what I have that I give. And that has been my journey. And the other thing is also trusting the process. Trusting the process of life. That in every season that I am, in every path that I'm taking, it is the path that is leading me to greatness and goodness. And I trust that everything is working for my good. Whether it is good, whether it is bad, whether it is challenging, whether it is a smooth ride, I believe that everything is working for my uttermost good. So trusting the process and enjoying while I'm at it. Yes. Joni siachwe nyuma.
Thank you so much, Jen, for
All right.
this candid conversation we've had. Thank you for the insights you've shared. As we wind up, where can people find you on your social media handles?
Yes, on my social media handles, that is The Woman in Christ. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, nadhani ile ingine zote. The Woman in Christ.
Yeah.
Yes, you'll find me there as The Woman in Christ. And that is where I have solid conversations, especially with women of all ages, you know, and empowering them to do life and enjoy while at it. Yes.
And before we finish, you mentioned that you're a retired banker.
Yes.
What are you up to now?
Right now, yes, I was in banking for 26 years.
Nakwambia very fast born wako
And I retired about 2 years ago to pursue my passion,
Okay.
which is counseling.
Okay.
So I'm a counseling psychologist, and if you come onto our social media pages, the ones I've mentioned, you'll also get my contacts there, and you can book an appointment. And I counsel all sorts of people, not just Christians, not just people who believe in Christ, but anybody who needs counseling and who needs somebody to walk with them the journey of life. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I'm enjoying and loving it, and wondering, what was I doing in the bank for 26 years? But it had its place, it served its purpose, and I thank God for that. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you so much. And to everyone who's been able to tune in into my story, thank you so much. We are going on a short commercial break. Coming up next is Parenting One-on-One with Juliet. Don't go anywhere.